and I did it, and it didn't have any chorus in it. It was just one long story, and it named off everybody from Jay-Z to even back to the old school Big Daddy Kane and Slick Rick and Dana Dane and Snoop Dogg, and just twisted all their names into a story, and that song alone generated a real nice buzz for me in Detroit and nationwide. So.
You also had a relationship with Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
How did that develop? What was created out of that?
I used to, like I said, he'd be at the Maurice Malone's hip hop shop, and he was doing a solo album called Infinite at the time, and the Ruckus was together, and we were doing our album, and he lived in the same neighborhood as I did, and I used to go over his house all the time because one of my DJs that I originally started rapping with was his roommate. So I'd always be at the house. I always knew who Marshall was, and Marshall and I started hanging out. Roughly, we became pretty good friends the year before he blew up, sort of say. I had a 2-year-old son at the time. He had a 2-year-old daughter, and they used to play together and all that stuff, and we kind of vibed off each other. And he taught me a lot about writing and that kind of stuff. He kind of added a twist into what I was doing.
Well, now, let's go back a second. I know when you're talking about all these endeavors,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times it happens because of good financial good backing.
Right.
And so let's talk about that. Let's take us down that path and how that all came about.
Well, it just seemed like the Ruckus as a group at the time, before I went solo, we were putting all our hard-earned money into it, and it became, I mean, it came to a point where we would skip rent and fund our CDs, and we would skip rent and pay for flyers and whatever it took, and it got so stressful on us as a group because sometimes one group member would be putting in more money than I would be, and then when I'd put in money, we just did it all the time, and it just got too stressful. We're going we can't be doing this anymore. This is, we have to maintain our personal life, and we have to separate it. But we knew that if we separated it, it'd probably be the end of our product. If you can't push it, you're not going to sell anything. You're not going to make a name for yourself. So watching Eminem around us, Eminem had Mark Bass around him, and he had Mark Kempf around him, and these were his producers, these were his managers, and they would fund him. They would make sure that his product was out. They would take care of his recording costs. They would take care of his flights to New York or flights to LA and stuff like that, and to get him out there and exposed. And eventually, after our group kind of dissolved and we kind of went our ways, and we went our ways peacefully just because our creative minds were going in two different directions. He wanted to go one way, I wanted to go one way. After that dissolved, I decided to kind of seek out a financial backer to take care of take the reins sort of and get me out there to where I needed to be exposed. And it was a little bit of a funny process, but eventually we worked it out, and it's been lovely ever since. So
we want to talk more about that.
Sounds good.
And we will next on It's Lifestyle.
A rapper who goes by the name of Hush is getting national buzz, and Detroit is the backdrop for his new video.
Appreciation. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back to It's Lifestyle. We're talking to MC, producer, actor, Hush. So let's talk about the process. Then you went forth to find your actual financial backer.
Well, actually, they found me. A company called Diamond Entertainment Group, they were funding an artist, and they were looking for producers. And I made it known in Detroit that I was a producer. I pretty much produced for everybody that was up and coming. And they approached me about producing tracks for his album or a project that he was working on that might have turned out to be an album. And we got involved together. I produced some tracks for him. They heard everything that I was doing. and wanted to get involved in my project somehow, and we formed a partnership, and the rest is history, pretty much.
You did a lot on your own at first, and then you met up with a guy named Shane Capone that you now work with, Rock City Records.
Right. Well, Rock City Records was Shane's label. He started it on his own. He pretty much he's been doing it for roughly 7 years now. Shane was an artist on his own. He had a group called MOB before that I used to produce tracks for when I was with the Ruckus. And Shane and I became, he was actually a friend of my group partner. And Shane eventually went solo from his group MOB and approached me about doing tracks for his solo album. And I said, all right, you know, no problem. You know, I love working on this stuff. And he approached me maybe 3/4 into his project about becoming a partner in Rock City Records, because we formed a bond, pretty much a real good friendship. I actually became his roommate, and we just hit it off as friends more than business. And then the business aspect of it was just so much fun that we just intertwined them together, and that's how Rock City became pretty much a big thing of mine.
Did y'all see eye to eye on your music and artists?
We trusted each other. I mean, it's more or less, it's not necessarily an eye-to-eye thing. It was more or less if there was something he was doing that I thought he could do better, I would tell him, and he would soak it in, and it was nothing. And if I felt the same way, if he felt the same way about something that I was doing, he felt free to tell me. And I always take advice easy, so it was always a mutual respect with everything we were doing.
If you could define what he already had in place, and then at the same time what creative forces you brought to the table, do you feel?
As a solo artist, Shane was selling 10,000 units in the Midwest, and doing that on his own. He was making trips on his own by himself. This is just a solo artist with his own financial backing on his own, and was selling records in Tennessee and Indiana and Ohio and everywhere else he could think of that would push his record. And he'd make sure that he was out in those cities every weekend pushing his record, doing car shows and everything like that. So he pretty much established his label in this little region. But it just wasn't that big of a scale for the rest of the world to see. So he kind of he was building it as a ground, from the ground up, and it's a slow process, but it was working for him. And when I got involved, what I brought to the table was my production, because Shane always had to go look for production because he didn't know how to produce the music. So when he came to me, it more or less became in-house production. Anybody that we ever wanted to work with, I did all the production for. So it was kind of like one hand was washing the other.
And you've now produced 2 CDs together. How do those differ, would you say?
Well, my first solo album was called There Goes the Neighborhood, and it was 21 tracks, and it was more or less a beginning for me. I didn't know the focus of what I was really trying to do. I was just trying to record and find my way as a solo artist, because I had never been solo before. I was always in the Ruckus. So now that I stepped out of the Ruckus and doing things on my own, I needed to find my way. So There Goes the Neighborhood was pretty much a process of finding myself and in combining everything about me into that album. I mean, I had complete personal issues on that album, and then I had complete zaniness, and wit, and I try to add a comedian factor into it. That if you get to know me, that's what all of that intertwines with me as a person. So I tried to project all of that into that album, and between that album and Roses and Razor Blades, I kind of developed myself a lot more and saw the path that I wanted to take, and through everybody listening to There Goes the Neighborhood and getting their feedback on it, it kind of helped me find a way for Roses and Razor Blades, which way I wanted to go with it. And it just became more detailed than as wide open as There Goes the Neighborhood was.
Hush, it's been a pleasure talking with you.
No problem.
If you have someone that you would like to see on It's a Lifestyle, please call us here at 770-559-2644. Most of all, have faith in your dreams, have faith in yourself. I'm Gina Woodham. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
D-E-T-R-O-I-T. That's where I was born, top dog MC. Drunk off the funk so bad I might spin. Mr. White folks, black girls say I'm light skinned. The H-U-S-S-H. Strolling through the hood in my candy paint. Seats laid back, just cruising the mo. If I ain't on 7 Mile, I'm in the studio. My 88 sits high so I can fit them rims. 20-inch high, all chrome day 10s. Born and raised in the 313. You take me out of the D, but not the D out of me. Playboy, I never was a baller of sorts. Call it a sport. Game is tight, taller than short. Hey yo, why must I be like that? Why must I just the cash? It's like that, Detroit players is all about doing what it takes to stack the dough. And when we walk in the club, we already drunk and we party till it's time to go. Detroit players like to get that cash. Detroit players just love to flash. We spend a whole lot of time and then the ballin' in the car watching ladies shake they bitties.
Yo, Pink Gators, my Detroit players, all about the cash in, all about the flashing. These Detroit players go back like nanny goats on tracks with rapid quotes. Got knack for cabbage growth and a habit to toke on his sticky Bruce Banner. All up in the truck cabin like 2 loose cannons. So sit back and just enjoy the ride and let the bass bump high inside the ride. In a Yukon XL with the dual exhaust, we might slide through the city with jewels and floss. So you might catch us in the coupe or the widest 6 with a pocket full of loose, scooping the finest chicks. These Detroit players been down since Mojo. Just specify the dough and we'll electrify flow. From downtown Belle Isle to 7 Mile, we got money by the pile in the club acting wild. Detroit players is all about doing what it takes to stack the dough. And when we walk in the club, we already drunk and we party till it's time to go. Detroit players like to get that cash. Detroit players just love to flash. We spend a whole lot of time and then the mallin' in the car watching ladies shake they. I gotta keep that funky. We gotta keep it funky. We gotta keep it funky. I'm the self-proclaimed coolest cat in the game. All the ladies like the way that I be doing my thing. They tell me, Big Daddy, don't you never change. They give me $100 bills and they kiss on my ring. What could it be, dawg? Is it because I'm a star? Is it because I be with Hush and Chain Capone in the bar? Is it the way that I be leaning to the side in my car? They like the way that I be living cause I'm living so large. Detroit players is all about doing what it takes to stack the dough. And when we walk in the club, we already drunk and we party till it's time to go. Detroit players like to get that cash. Detroit players just love to flash. We spend a whole lot of time and then the mallin' in the watching ladies shake they. Detroit players is all about doing what it takes to stack the dough. And when we walk in the club, we already drunk and we party till it's time to go. Detroit players like to get that cash. Detroit players just love to flash. We spend a whole lot of time and then the mallin' in the bar watching ladies shake they. Yeah. Tell you what my crew's got. Run your jewels. I come through, head nod, tilt your glass. Check the heat on your side, better hide your stash. And a player out here, calculating the type. See, I add your ice when I subtract it right. All of this out here's my time to burn. Till the heat dies down, just watch and learn. When the ice melts off of that platinum grill, we'll see who's left with only half the skill. See, I'm off the chain, like initial pendants.
Robert Stiller, but you the killer, black my man if it's trouble dealer. My
mission is to make the Bloody Miller self-made paper route, street living, make it out of. Before somebody take you out of the game, too many fakes lames in the way. Okay, I take this space. Now we face to face, toe to toe, flow for flow. If we do a street fight, blow for blow, ride. Sip the brew, I smoke the herb with the crew. I gotta get these papers, got me stuck in like glue. Ass Hush.
Hold down, Mike. Oh, Mr. Hush, how you liking things so far?
Man, I'm just wilding out. This is like my first video ever in the history of of America.
You caught that.
I need one more. 7 girls, not 6. First track had to be, a straight up cameo appearances, with Dale. E-Dub will be here later on about 2 o'clock.
That's a salt chuck.
But it doesn't make sense to have a video without cars and girls, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's all about.
I'm really broke. I had to rob somebody for this money, so
just for the video shoot.
I don't even have a job.
So who's paying for everything today?
These nuts.
These nuts.
Pow! A rapper who goes by the name of Hush is getting national buzz, and Detroit is the backdrop for his new video. Action News reporter Kimberly Craig is live at the State Fairgrounds with more on this rising star. Kim?
Well, Robbie, if it's ever been your dream to be in a music video, a rap video, now's your chance to get on down here to the State Fairgrounds. Now, they've just began taking a break right now, as a matter of fact. Now, the album won't be out to the fall, but the single Detroit Players was just released today, and the video shoot began bright and early. Meet Detroit's rising star, Daniel Carlisle, better known as Hush. Yeah, that's right, Hush, as in be quiet on this set.
As long as I've been doing this stuff, Detroit artists have always stuck together anyway, and it didn't even matter if the industry was looking for us anyway. We just wanted to build up together and maybe come up together and then let the industry see that we're doing our own thing here and trying to, maybe turn this into, what Motown used to be.
See, he got funk. That's the difference that separates him between Eminem and Kid Rock. He coming with funk.